Now that we're gearing up toward the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women event for March 20th, we were reflecting, and it makes more sense to actually open enrollment after that event on the 22nd of March. Because a lot of the women that I'm speaking with at the roundtable have organizations that are in alignment with what we're actually doing. And so it makes more sense to get them involved and spend the time in between meeting with them individually, understanding what their organizations are doing, um, and also helping them because we're in charge of the branding, or I'm doing the marketing for that event for the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. So helping them understanding what their entities are actually doing, exploring ways that we can collaborate in a win-win scenario for both Art Heals Earth School and all of our Divine Feminine global leaders, as well as their organizations, to then open enrollment for art classes and be all continuing building that momentum after the United Nations event toward a common goal. And so now that Ozra is here as well, I will actually share the screen and just kind of give an understanding of like what we all have been collaborating on thus far. I know that Ozra and Caprice both joined from Alexis's community, and so actually that's the majority of the women here have also met or at least bonded over that as well. And this is Art Heals Earth School, which is a nonprofit organization. So it's separate from just what we're doing with the Low Girls group, but it just so happens that the women in that community are very compatible with the kinds of things that we're doing with Art Heals Earth School. And Art Heals Earth School is an organization which we are in the process of formalizing, which is why we're going to have the conversation around the different positions and leadership roles, opportunities, and the structure of that. But for a little bit of context and backstory, Art Heals Earth is on a mission to unlock 1 billion closed minds. And there's a lot of ways that we're doing that, but through holistic health and wealth education is the main avenue in application of how we're delivering on that mission. And so what we're doing right now is gearing up toward opening enrollment for art classes online, which will help not only, see that mission come to life, but also fund our building of and serving communities worldwide, building schools. So this is the material to help pitch to organizations to fundraise with us. I won't go too in depth. I'll send you all of this whenever we're, actually going about the fundraising aspect, but I just want to give you all context to what we're doing and also why we are doing it. And the reason why we're doing any of this is because we recognize that there's miseducation, improper guidance, and an irresponsible allocation of resources on the planet, and that we're here to serve and to be the solution. So these three topics here are actually going to be the contents of my keynote, or the speech, or the speaking at the roundtable that I'll be doing with the United Nations. So I'm not going to go too in depth about this here, but it's part of the curriculum of what we teach within the organization across the board on how we shift paradigms and how we actually unlock the mind. And we have the link tree for all of the links of the things that we both have, products, services, and partnerships of different organizations. We're also in the process of rebranding some things, so not quite everything is up there, but there's a lot there. Gives some context. This all really started because, well, I've been in the process of branding Art Heals Our School for quite some time now, and the platforms existed for several years. But the way that we have been approaching things more recently, and since, getting involved with Alexis and the Glow Girls community, there's been some organic unfolding that a woman that I have been working with and building out um, work opportunities for a collective of women and families in the Philippines. Turns out that one of her friends actually is a teacher at this school that is in really dire circumstances. These children, there's 400 plus students, they, you know, cross 7 rivers barefoot, walking 2 hours both directions to get to school every day, where they don't have food, they don't have supplies. And when she told me this story, it really struck me. And we decided collectively that we needed to do something. And so it's put us on this path, and momentum has just been building and building and building toward being able to serve the school. We've already been able to provide some supplies, but we want to be able to do more. And so the more that we want to do has been, again, organically unfolding through the different partnerships that we have. I've mentioned it a few times, but I'm involved with the organization Lifesavers Ambassadors International, and several other organizations which are getting involved with the Commission on the Status of Women for the United Nations. And we have a lot of things along those lines, women with insanely remarkable platforms, backstories, experience, who are wanting to collaborate with us at the highest level. And so what that looks like for us is positioning an open call across the board through a marketing campaign, through, you know, presenting a prompt to everybody. You don't have to be enrolled in art classes to participate in the open call for art. The art classes are just one avenue of revenue that we have to bring in money to help actually physically do things, like providing art supplies, providing food, etc. But the open call for artists that we will be announcing through a strategic marketing campaign on all platforms will be a prompt to design Earth's coolest school ever. So we'll make a call to action for everyone to imagine, what is the coolest school on earth? Like, what does it actually mean to be too cool for school? And draw, you know, paint, sing, dance, write, make a freaking TikTok, whatever you consider art, anyone can submit. And how we actually judge this and decide the winning designs will be that everyone who submit gets a vote, but all children get 2 votes. So we'll be able to choose finalists and then inevitably one winning design. And all the finalists form one committee, and the winning design leads that committee. And then we use all of these resources, all of these partnerships, and this platform of leverage that we have co-created through community harmoniously. And we connect the individuals who would be actually physically bringing that vision, or a collaged vision of those schools, to life through physical resources, financial means, whatever is necessary. The one avenue of the funding that we were discussing through art classes is going to be held weekly on Zoom. We are looking to target private schools and larger organizations that maybe 50 to 100 million who have in revenue, that have charitable giving budgets. Things like banks with 10 plus branches, professional sports teams, grocery stores. All of these are examples of the kinds of companies that actually have access to the resources to be able to sponsor students, and then the students at private schools have the time and the money to actually attend these kinds of paid classes, which follow the same themes that we were discussing before: unlocking the mind, the two main paradigm shifts, and also art being the aligned resonant truth. All individuals are also welcome. These are not just for children. This is like for women and for children. So like the women in our community, if you all wanted to do art classes as well, you're welcome to enroll. The money breakdown we can get a little bit more into, but there's a paid plan to do month to month, or also a one-time payment. And our dates have changed, so I won't even go into this part. But that's like a very quick overview of a lot of information, just to get everybody caught up, so you guys are not like completely lost of like, what are we talking about? Do any of you, particularly Caprice and Azra, since this is your first time coming on, have any questions or anything you'd like to say before we get into like the nitty-gritty conversational aspect of this meeting?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you for explaining that. I was curious on what was going on with this group chat and the organization. That's really cool. I like that.
Awesome. And then I'll just give you context as well. I mean, we do, aside from all of that, that's like what we're doing, but we have like daily workouts. We like do abs and breath work and meditation together every single day. Just so like community involvement. We hold these meetings twice a week to get everyone privy to like what's going on, right? And then we also do a collective meeting for the community the last Sunday of every month, where we just, come together with our planners and like do creative artsy things. Also, Ida is in charge of the newsletter, and we are doing like artist spotlights and helping give shout outs to the women in our community as well. So there's like a lot of ways to get involved beyond, the main like mission. But I wanted to give you context to that as well, because like this is we're just cute girlies doing stuff to like, help the world. So there's a lot of ways to just have fun together too.
We're the cute
That's so
change
sweet.
makers.
Sweet. Okay, cool. So I'm glad that that all made sense, and hopefully it was succinct enough. Um, awesome. So, I know that Sid and Edna have been doing a lot of reflecting specifically on the topic of like structuring organizations. I can sort of share what Edna just sent over. But before doing that, is there anything that you, Sydney, in particular, wanted to share or speak on? Just because Edna and I had spoken more recently about it, and I want to get to give you space as well in case there's something you wanted to say.
Let's get into the conversation and then whatever I have to say will flow
Okay,
into it. Yeah.
that sounds great to me. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pull up the message that you sent me, Edna, and we can kind of go breaking things down. Um, what I'll also say is that we have some unique like perks that we can offer to the women who would want to actually rise up to certain levels of leadership within the organization. That are actually really cool, and I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm just having all my tabs open in a specific way, so just give me a second. Um, let's see.
I do want to say that I appreciate what Edna sent over, and I think that that is great. What I think we should start with is identifying like the five most important
Yeah,
goals, and then break it down from there based on whatever our most immediate projects.
I agree. That makes sense. Okay. So let's see. And I think that that's just knowing how the flow of how those were sent over, these roles were sent over to me. I do think that these first five were like the initial ones, and then these other ones came later after Edna had sort of like slept on it. And Edna, you're welcome to chime in at any point as well. But I wanted to just go ahead and share the screen of these messages. So in any organization, obviously there's a founder. And I'm gonna grab a pen in a second as well. I think it's pretty clear what that is. This is the person who sets the vision, the mission, etc. Then there's coordinator for events and projects. So if that would be like, for example, this project that we're looking to do within the Philippines, and then to be able to scale out. Okay, I kind of figured as much, Edna. Thank you for your message in the chat. And then community contact person slash community liaison. Okay, that makes sense. Um,
So their community outreach and community liaison,
mhm,
we need to merge the two, in my opinion, for now.
I agree.
And then finances, number one, but I think what we need is marketing. Like boom, 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 and then marketing. So bringing those two together and creating like a marketing team or like a marketing person. And then I think we're good for now.
Yeah. Um, I'm writing finance. Mhm.
Can I just say that this is really well structured? I mean, I only see the first message, but it's still so far looking really good.
I agree, yeah, and it's a necessary thing for us to have, obviously. Um, and what's great about it too is that everyone can have a committee as well, which will like be necessary. Um, so if we merge those two, Sid, then we're looking at four. We're looking at the founder, coordinator of projects or project managers. Continue.
No, because marketing. So
Oh,
we
I see.
would be doing founder, project manager, community liaison, marketing, and finances.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Um, completely agreed. So moving down the list, yeah, it's starting at 6 is where we get additions. So then it would be like membership relations, diversity inclusion, technology and innovation, mentorship.
What I would suggest next, after you have the top 5 and we're making headway,
Mhm.
I would do technology,
Mhm.
and then I'd do membership relations. Diversity inclusion with 5 or 6 of us, we can manage um working with a diverse, range of people for now.
Yeah,
Um, so that is how I would go about that.
I agree.
And then human resources would be, major, and then legal and compliance major, right? But
We have that. So legal and compliance, I feel confident in because of who
okay,
we're working with, to
okay.
actually get the entity structured. Human resources, definitely. I mean, obviously, like, especially when we're talking about getting more and more funding, like there's a large amount that will be budgeted just toward legal fees and insurances across the board.
I think the main thing is like thinking about the next few projects, which who are the stakeholders of these projects? Like who are we targeting? Like what are we doing? And then just what we need to accomplish those, and then we expand.
Yeah. And how do we design it to be scalable in a way that we can duplicate the same process in different locations without starting, oh, what should we do? Oh, no, like we're not doing that. It's opposite. Um, yeah, and then in terms of the rest of the things written here, content creation and curation goes under marketing. And also in terms of strategic partnerships, I'm comfortable taking that on at this point because that's basically the number one thing I do across the board anyway, and that's what people pay me to do within their organizations too. So, I mean, that makes sense for right now. But eventually, yes, scaling that out will make sense as well. Um, human resources, data analytics. I also find that potentially, like with data analytics, just knowing what we have on the back end with Step Up and our organization with like the hard skills of facilitating um our actual outreach strategies as we're writing them out, that might not be necessary to be an actual position, but we can discuss that once we get to it. So I agree. I think that these top five, finance, outreach slash community contact, community coordinator slash or communications coordinator, whatever, coordinator slash projects and events. These aren't like the actual names. We can come up with better names. And marketing make the most sense to build like a top team.
Uh, I want to, our first project, so what would you say that is?
Project wise, my vision is building and helping serve a school, right? What's gotten us here so far is that community within the Philippines, but I'm open,
Okay.
you know?
Okay, when I'm saying projects, right? I'm saying the most immediate thing that we're working towards that has an end date, like the goal, like the most immediate goal.
Then I would say it should be the campaign for the call to artists to design and our enrollments.
Okay, so campaign for the call to artists. Okay, and the enrollments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the best thing to do with the 5 roles that we have. Okay, we decide who at what who's gonna do those roles or whatever. And then based on those next 2 projects, how can we delegate tasks to each person
Mm-hmm.
so that this project is successful. These projects are successful. How do we begin to delegate tasks to one another? I think that's the best way to start. Break it down easily, and as we go, we'll know like, oh, I can do more of this, I could do less of this, I could figure this out, right? But the goal is to like get the campaign running and to get enrolled, like people to enroll.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our first 2 projects. So now, what does the founder do in that? What is the project manager doing? What is the community liaison doing? What is the marketing team doing? And what is the finance team doing to get this accomplished in the best way possible?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're breaking it down on that level. We have our roles. We don't know exactly who's going to do what, but
Mm-hmm.
now it's time to delegate those tasks so that we're accomplishing goals.
And it could help if we have our milestones set. I mean, I suppose that's the first milestone to get the enrollments
Yeah.
and how we are delegating to each role and what but
What a project
um,
manager will do is break down the milestones and make sure that everything is like going on track in alignment with those milestones. So that would be the project manager's, one of the project manager's roles. Define the roles and responsibilities of each person, give them the task, break it down, and make sure that it's happening within that allotted time. And in the time, in the budget, and in the scope of the project. Like that's the goal of that person. Um, And so we need milestones for the campaign and for the enrollments, like and the ultimate goal for those. And then we need to break down everything and delegate tasks based on roles.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's perfect. All right.
So
The-
that makes me wonder, what is give me your exact number of enrollments or like the goal and give me a timeline. And the same thing for the campaign. You don't have to do it now. You can like process this information.
Mhm.
But then we can like map everything out. And that's where we'll be able to begin to start delegating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do we have a goal right now? I mean, for the amount of people to the enrollment, like what is the absolute minimum you're going to feel content with?
I mean, it's the original goal has changed from what we would be approaching now because originally we were just like, let's just do art classes and get like 10 enrollments together. And then it's evolved to like, no, like let's do this more at scale. So I don't know how to answer that question quantity wise at the moment, you know?
Mhm.
Because yes, there
Yeah.
was original goal, but it's not relevant now.
Yeah.
So let's get clarity on that. And then I think the best thing to do is go from there. Because once you have the clarity, we can make the plan. I think we should think, okay, because the campaign, um, it should go hand in hand with the enrollments because the more that we market the campaign, the more access people have to understanding what we do and will want to enroll.
Yeah.
So the campaign is going to be like heavily in the marketing
Yes.
area. So getting a marketing person, I would think that would be like
Number
top priority, right? Because nobody, I don't think anybody wants to do that if they don't like enjoy marketing. And that's what we need to even get the enrollments and to get the campaign going.
Yeah. That
Um,
of finance is like number,
yeah.
because I am privy to understanding that like where we're at with funding, and it's literally a matter of having certain structures in place like this for us to be able to clearly communicate to certain individuals, like with even within our organization, opportunities for them to contribute without actually having to do a monetary donation. There are ways that we can get sponsorships for one of our corporations through, it doesn't have to be a community member, but I think we have community members who want to get involved and would want to support so that the nonprofit can receive funding. And with that comes
Right.
perks. That could be a paid position because they're helping us receive funding so they can earn a part of it as well. These are all going to be paid positions, but that in particular, they don't necessarily have to have any leadership or responsibilities, except for they'd be willing to be involved in what the process is to actually help us receive the funding. And then we can have the other kinds of perks as well, which we, as a leadership team, will also be able to receive diplomatic worldwide passports, international driver's licenses. Like these are the kinds of things that we can actually provide.
I think the best person that I know to talk to about that is Nina, the girl that you met the other
Yeah.
day. That's what she does. So
Yeah.
I would reach out to her and see where her head is because I
Mhm.
think she would value doing that kind of work.
Yeah.
But those two are like the number one,
Mhm.
and then just getting clear on exactly the goal so that we can come up with a strategy that aligns with the goal.
Agreed. That makes sense.
Marketing is so important in the way that you get the one chance to make the good first impression with the person you are targeting the message to. And we want to be clear on how we communicate the message and doing it in a proper way so it doesn't affect the reputation of the organization, and we're doing it in a heartfelt way.
Exactly.
I think marketing is probably more important because the way you market can lead to more enrollments rather than the quantity of it.
Mhm.
I have a question for Ida.
Mm.
Do you have a specific role that you feel you align with the most? Because I picture you in a role, but I just want to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, when I was talking to Karina, I talked more about the creative aspect of it, but I do have, because I work in finance and I can be partially of help there. I don't have a university degree in finance, but I do have some understanding and in the analytics also. So I think I can be very flexible with the roles, but the communication part I think could be very fun for me.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
envision you as like a community liaison.
All right.
That's how
Yeah,
I
that works.
envision you because you have a very like gentle energy. I feel like you can communicate with
Mm,
people well. And when I like read your like newsletters, that's the
mm,
vibe that I get. Um, but I don't, it would be whatever you were comfortable with. I'm not like trying
yeah,
to tell you, I don't know you well, but that's just how I like envision it.
yeah. And I appreciate that because I think I'm like a chameleon in that way because I have such a wide variety of things that I enjoy doing. Um, then I would really appreciate hearing from you, ladies, what you believe would be suitable for me.
Mhm.
Because I can honestly try to do all of it because I believe it's so much fun and value in it. But absolutely the community outreach, because as you say, I mean, I really enjoy talking to the community members and getting to know what they find valuable and what they want us to share and work with. I mean, yeah, I would absolutely love that.
It looks like
I
Ed.
wanted to ask Edna too, because I wanted to ask Edna what she feels too, but I know she is, if she could like type it, what she feels like she would like to do.
Well, I don't know if she can type at the moment, but I'm laughing because this woman already created a CV for herself that said project, and events coordinator. So I know that that's
Mm,
from her perspective what she resonates with the most, and I actually
mm.
tend to agree.
Yeah,
And
Um,
it suits her.
cool.
yeah. And I
Mm,
actually, it looks like Edna agreed with what you were saying for Ida, and I also agree. So I think that
mm,
that makes sense. And another aspect of it, Ida, is that like, and I appreciate that you would be willing to do, finance and all that kind of stuff, but we want
mm,
people in the roles that they are like thriving in,
mm.
because the reality is
Absolutely.
someone's gonna be like, finance, I got the sauce. Like finance,
Yeah.
that's my shit, and that's what we need is everyone to feel that
Mm.
way. Who is this? I think this might be a real person. Give me a second.
Okay.
There's so many spam callers lately. Scam callers.
Okay, and then Edna said coordinating the different parts. So like a project
Yeah.
manager or coordinator, is that what you mean?
Because Edna seems to be really good at structuring and yeah, this is the structuring part, knowing exactly what to do at what time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Okay,
impression I have had from her.
cool. Awesome. Okay.
Mm. And Karina is right. Ideally, you will be in a role that you're thriving, and instead of distributing your knowledge, you're just in that one.
Yeah, you're
You know what I'm
doing,
saying?
like you want to enjoy what you do and
Mm,
feel good at it, and like it's in alignment with your personality,
yeah.
you know.
And
So
there's this
I
one
agree.
something about having, I mean, it becomes like this, I don't know how to say it, but like it's valuable when you have the possession of a role. Like, you know, it's yours and you get to grow within that role.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that that is cool. Um,
Pardon me, ladies.
No problem.
okay, so Edna said like coordinating. So like project management coordination,
Yeah.
and then
And I mean, she literally already broke down the roles and responsibilities so far, so I that's
yeah,
compatible, right? Like,
She's already on the way, right?
right.
Yeah.
yeah, and then finances. So finances and marketing would it be
Do you plan to
like-
outsource anything?
so
Go ahead.
oh no, if he had something to say.
I want to hear.
I had something to say, but okay, from my perspective, procuring different things with only we are gonna have to do that. There were only a team of 5, so uh, that would be necessary. I can't say until I know exactly like what the goals are, what we would have to outsource.
Mhm.
If we get somebody, especially in marketing, if we get somebody who is like a marketing genius, can do it, knows how to use AI, knows how to do like we would have to like delegate less. But I think the most delegation would be in marketing
Mhm.
until we have someone that is good at it.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
I love that. I inclined to agree. I also think just around the perspective of knowing that we have right now a workforce of 30 people in the Philippines training to utilize AI at the highest level means that whoever the marketing director actually is needs to be the person who's really good at taking I have the vision for how to communicate for the most part, and I also know how to do it on a technical level, but there are things that I'm not seeing. And so it needs to be a person who sees broader, understands the vision, but sees even broader, and then is good at writing out the strategies in a way that makes sense to then hand off to the teams of people to execute it. Because the that person should be the one that's the liaison between our workforce and
Mhm.
our leadership team to then be like, okay, this is our strategy for LinkedIn. These 5 people are, acquiring these clients this way or doing however, through launching this campaign. Okay, we're using TikTok to break down these things. Like I know how to create the content and can help guide using AI for those things. And then we have people who are learning how to get it at the top of, the search engines in general. And we also have the people to optimize our ad spend to where it's getting to like the right eyes using these different social platforms. But what we need is the person who's able to be like, okay, this is the vision. These are the videos. This is what it looks like out on the grid. Here, create it. Great, it's created. Now put it on this platform to get these amount of eyes in these locations. Like that's what we need for marketing, not necessarily the person who,
Mhm.
like, we don't need anyone editing videos in a marketing.
Yeah, yeah, that all could be delegated.
Mhm.
Like
So that,
all of that other stuff
yeah.
can be delegated.
And then, I mean, in terms of like, for example, projects or events, like it's less about outsourcing, but definitely around partnerships. Like if we're building a school, there are people who have like lifetimes of experience working with bamboo, you know what I mean? If that's the material that's being utilized, or if we're, hosting a retreat, there are people who have those kinds of experiences that that individual would work with. So that makes sense. And then,
Mm.
like you said, Edna, the person has to be very much aligned with the mission and the DNA of not only the project, but the organization too. And that goes across the board. Everyone needs to be holistically in alignment to be a contender for any of this.
Mm. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Will we have, because I don't know how much of Step Up is going to be integrated in the Art Heals organization. Will we have the members there as assets if they want to contribute in, like, or is this, did I understand it correct, that we can outsource within other organizations as a way of collaborating with them? Or is it mostly like AI that will be doing a lot of that stuff?
Okay, I can answer the second part of the question if
Mhm.
I want to make sure I fully understand it.
Mm.
But the AI will be doing it, but those individuals are the ones feeding the AI.
Yeah.
And they'll be earning money. Like we'll be hiring them, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm also training them, but like regardless, we'll be their client, basically. Even
Mhm.
though I introduced them to the whole point was to create opportunities for them to make money. You know what I mean? So like they're gonna
Mhm.
through this as well. Um, they feed the AI. But the first part of your question, I want to fully understand. And I don't think I did. So is there a way you could rephrase it if it wasn't answered?
No, I think I
Oh,
understand
Audra,
now
thank
because
you
we
so
are
much.
still. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just saw she said she's heading out, so I want to say thank you
Yes.
and for just being a listening ear. I know that we've been like
Yeah.
going at it.
Thank you, Azra. Have a great day or evening, depending on where you are.
Go ahead, Ida.
No, but you pretty much answered it. I was wondering how. I mean, yeah, we will be their client. That's the
Yeah.
most reasonable way of seeing it.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll be
Mm.
the client of Step Up. Another aspect of this is that on a business level, what we're exploring is positioning my personal platform for LinkedIn, not just branding around this, but also branding me as a leadership figure within their organization to be able to also position it where we are attracting more people, not only to be clients for them, because that's going to bring more money for those individuals, but also attracting to create more opportunities for those refugees by just me being like a figure and spokesperson for what it is that they're doing on a business level. Because we're able to, I can provide a lot of value for the business people in my network who have organizations that we're creating alliances with by being able to offer them our workforce through Step Up. So it's going to need to be really important, or it is really important and going to need to be executed that is clearly communicated through just my profile and some passive marketing. It's not going to be like our thing. The campaign is all about what we are doing and the project we're doing. And that's how I'm going to like be presenting to the world. But there are aspects of my personal brand positioning that are going to be important for us to continue generating revenue from other sources, continue bringing refugees like opportunities and doing some of that work on the ground level beyond even our projects, and also building credibility for me as an individual, as the founder of the organization, to show, okay, this woman's teaching art classes, which I don't even need to be the only person teaching art classes as we scale it out. But in the beginning, like showing like my story really well, which is the whole
Mm.
purpose of why we're rebranding LinkedIn, right? To show like, oh, she's created these incredible ceramics. Oh, she's been here and there and done all of these other things. And this is the woman that would be teaching the art in addition to like all of the other things that are going on. So that's why, like Sydney said, the marketing aspect is super important. Hi, Christine, welcome.
Hi, Christine.
If you're able to unmute, you're welcome
Mm.
to speak. We're happy to have you. Um, yeah, so I trust that that like makes sense. And I know it didn't necessarily directly answer a specific question, but it was just important for me to communicate that as well, because there are certain moving pieces of this, as you already know from the meeting with Jackie, right? And like with Jacqueline and how we're rebranding the LinkedIn page. Um, and that's just the start of positioning everything in a way that we can really, really build the momentum and have clarity in our communication with not just our target audience and the people that we're looking to have, you know, work with us on a whether it's a high level donor level or then our strategic alliances, different organizations with the women, for example, that we're speaking with at the UN summit. Um, but across the board, having it make a lot of sense and clarity to anyone. And again, that needs to be aligned with the mission and the DNA as well.
Yeah, the last call was really inspiring.
I'm glad you felt that way.
Mm.
Speaking of which, on Monday we are doing the roundtable marketing event. And right now we um have it set up where like the teams of the speakers can also be present, so I can give more information on that, but it
Mhm.
it would make sense if you ladies, you know, on the leadership side of things wanted to be present for that, because then you could directly also network with some of the women who we will be partnering with in this project, because I've already started speaking a little bit to some of them and they're like, you've got my support, just tell me how we can, you tell me when and we're on a call together, basically, which is a great feeling, knowing that we can leverage these kinds of resources. Christine, are you able to unmute now? I know that your audio was being a little bit funky.
Hi, yes, I am here. How is everyone?
Wonderful. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. I'm so sorry I'm late. Things got mixed
Mm.
up and things happened, but I wanted to at least hop on, even if it was going to be really last minute. So I hope everything has been discussed really well. I hope it's been fruitful.
Absolutely. No, I know you've
Mm.
been so busy too getting started back up with school, and this meeting's recorded. So what I'll do is I'll just like send it to you. If you want to rewatch it, that would be super helpful. So you have context. This is probably the most succinct explanation of everything that's going on so far. So that's good.
Yeah,
Um,
that's going to be really helpful. Thank you.
Good. The topic at hand that I feel like pretty much at a wrapping point at anyway is sort of we've been discussing the core positions within the organization and how we're structuring the nonprofit for the projects that we're working on. And then being able to create other opportunities for the women within our community beyond that. So, we're almost at the top of the hour. Do any of you have questions, anything you want to say? You know, I think we're pretty clear on the roles which we have decided, which again, Christine, you'll get context to this. So if you have questions later, you're welcome to reach out as well. And I would love to gauge just like your level of interest also. Just for context, Christine has been a part of the book club since it started as well. And that's so she's been like sort of inadvertently watching the evolution of all of this, which has been kind of cool. So yeah, floor is open if anyone has questions or anything that they'd like to say. Edna, thank you.
This discussion has been really great. Can we have a separate chat maybe on WhatsApp for all of these members, the people that have been delegated, so for us to talk the structures.
Yeah, I think that that's a good idea for those of us who are wanting to take on leadership roles to be in a group chat together. And then we will also have there's like the core five, and then each core five also will have a committee, you know? There are people who are already stepping up into like more involvement, but they're not quite at a level of being like a C-suite position or like a board member. But I'm just communicating that so you know, like there will be two aspects of this. And we already have people expressing interest in showing me their leadership and accountability, where some of you will already be working with other individuals to be able to delegate certain things to within the organization. So that will be helpful for us to be able to have access to. But for starters, we will just have a group chat of the core five individuals. And it looks like we have outreach projects and events. I definitely agree with you, Sydney, about talking to Nina about all of this in terms of finance. But that position will still be open, and we could also potentially have co-positions if someone, like for example, projects and events, if you have another individual who would work well alongside you in tandem as a coordinator, that could be discussed. You know, especially in ways to like scale this. And then we'll discuss opening positions around marketing as well, because Sydney, you were discussing delegating that out. I'm wondering what area of involvement you feel most inclined to be in leadership with, if you're able to. Yeah.
You're asking me?
Yeah, or I'm just, you don't have to
Okay.
answer right this second, but that's what
Um,
I'm wondering.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
I'm
sense.
not sure. I need to gain clarity around it. But there are. I'll talk to you about it directly. Yeah.
But that's the best thing anyway, and I was gonna suggest the same. But I just wanted to address it here as well to say, like, looks like we have clarity for Ida and Edna, which is great. And then the other positions we're going to get a little bit more clarity on. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
Christine, I'm glad you were able to join us. And thank you
Yeah,
all.
I actually have a suggestion.
Sure.
Would it be possible to make a sort of essentially an outline of what this is, what it entails, so that other people can gain clarity on what exactly they are getting themselves into in the whole organization, because that clarity will really help people become more engaged. I'm sure maybe some people feel a bit on and off because they're not exactly sure what exactly the core aim and the core direction of everything is. And even for me personally, there's some things which I feel I'm not exactly 100% clear on. So if someone could create a sort of outline of what the direction we're going in is, I think it would really help people, it would draw people in more easily. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Right.
I think after watching the playback of this, a lot of that will probably be answered, but we definitely need to
Okay, good.
repurpose it, the presentation for the community members and incorporate other opportunities for involvement, which was also a topic at hand, but is like needing to be a priority. So I appreciate that insight, and I would really appreciate after you watch the video, if and how you might still feel that way so that we can continue clarifying and then communicating it better to the members who are showing up in the organization.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be
I think
great.
I
That'd be
resonate with
exciting.
oh, I resonate with what Edna said. I think that these need to be separate conversations, like people that are already
Structure.
aware of what's happening need to be in one space, breaking all of this down, and then everything else needs to be in the welcome room or whatever, this is, and that's the way we should go about it, because that's confusing to come into that.
I agree completely, and I'm glad that that's something that we all agree upon. And then also we can, as a leadership team, delegate and share responsibility of the open house calls so that we're all communicating this, and it's not just like falling on one person to pitch the same thing over and over again, because we all need to be able to pitch that effectively anyway.
Yeah, if you can attach also how you did in the WhatsApp group, the brief synopsis of like what you're doing here in this space. You know how you have like the attachment?
The
Can you do that on Zoom? No, where you attach like all the Zoom, like you attach all the Zoom links and like all the like everything you're doing. You
pinned
attach that on
message?
WhatsApp so you can see it consistently. Like if you can have something like that for this room. This is what we just in more detail. I know you say this is what we discussed, but like if you just go into detail so you don't have to keep like breaking it down every single time.
Yeah.
Or a video.
Yes, that's something that needs to be done, because in the beginning I was showing the video with Mia, but it's not as relevant. I mean, it's still relevant, but it's just we've evolved so much since then that we need to create a like
In like a minute. It's like a minute.
like
It's
a
like quick.
minute. Exactly. I agree. It needs to be like an elevator pitch thing to just sort of clarify. So that's definitely something that needs to be done as well.
Yeah. I think it's great when we ask the community members for feedback, because sometimes we get the tunnel vision when we're working with what we know and we understand, but we forget that it might not be as coherent to other people participating.
Exactly.
So that's really appreciated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's true. I think people might even be joining out of curiosity to see what this community is like if they want to participate. So it would really be helpful.
absolutely. And just like you said, Christine, that's been an area of conversation this past week of like, how do we create other kinds of opportunities within the organization, not just even like core leadership, but just like across the board. Because I think people want to do stuff just across the board, want to make a difference, want to have fun with each other. Like, but it's our responsibility to clearly communicate it and create those kinds of opportunities, positioning it where people are able to even get more engaged.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that sounds good. I think we have clarity on what needs to be done next, and can kind of go from there. Christine, I know really all of you, I'll immediately upload this video and I'll send it to you as soon as possible so you can watch it at your earliest convenience. And then I will also make sure that we are all in that group chat together and kind of get started when it comes to the core 5 roles that we're already establishing. Anything anyone
And
else?
if you could forward, sorry for interrupting. If you can forward that message with the core leadership and the
Yeah.
assignments or like the assigned tasks, that would be, yeah, that would be helpful.
I'll forward those to you right now.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, ladies, anything else?
Mm.
Okay, perfect. It is 2:07 Eastern Standard Time and I adjourn this meeting. It's been a while.
Thank you so much
I
for
appreciate
today.
you all so much. Thank you. We'll speak soon.
Okay,
Take
bye.
care,
Have a nice
everyone. Bye.